You helped start the Trilateral Commission, and you've been to the Bilderberger groups.
At the Bilderberg meeting in Baden, June 6th through 9th, 1991, which saw the debut of Bill Clinton, who was virtually unknown at this time outside of Arkansas, had spent 3 days with the Rockefellers and the elite, and then barely 2 months later he had been nominated as presidential candidate for the Democrats, and another 16 months later he was President of the United States of America. Talk about corruption. The Bilderberg meetings were started by Joseph Hernam Redinger, a 33rd degree Freemason. In 1955 he started the European Community Initiative, which ultimately led to the EU. Now, during the 1980s, the Freemason Romano Prodi was a member of the Bilderberg Steering Committee. In 1999 he was appointed President of the European Commission. High-ranking Freemason José Manuel Barroso was in spring 2004 appointed new President of the European Commission. People who are in positions to recognize the elements of Satanism have noticed the similarities between Satanism and Freemasonry. Anton Sander LaVey, the founder of the Church of Satan, wrote a book called The Satanic Rituals. LaVey describes the nefarious satanic ritual known as the Ceremony of the Stifling Air. He notes that the exact same ritual is embodied in the Nobles of the Mystic Shrine, and I quote, "The original Templars right of the 5th degree symbolically guided their candidate through the Devil's Pass, in the mountains separating east from west. At the fork of the trail, the candidate would make an important decision where he might dwell in Satan's household. A striking American parallel to this rite is enacted within the order the Nobles of the Mystic Shrine, an order reserved for 32nd degree Freemasons. The nobles have gracefully removed themselves from any implication of hearsay by referring to the place beyond the Devil's Pass as the dominion where they might worship the shrine of Islam," unquote. The Satanic Rituals, page 56. To be a Freemason, you have to swear oaths of secrecy in your rituals. The penalties for breaking the oaths are horrible. Enter apprentice or 1st degree swears if he breaks his oath, he will get his throat slit from ear to ear and tongue torn out by the roots, and then your body buried. 2nd degree or fellowcraft is getting your heart cut out and then your body getting fed to wild beasts. 3rd degree or master mason is having your body severed in two, then having your body burned to ashes. While Aleister Crowley was writing about satanic sacrifice, child abuse, and bestiality, he was being awarded the highest degrees of Freemasonry. He was more than just a 33rd degree Scottish Rite Mason. He rose to the 97th degree of the Rite of Memphis and Mizraim. Crowley's disturbing practices of bestiality, child sacrifice, and ritual abuse earned him the reputation of the wickedest man alive, but this didn't stop the flood of Masonic honors that were heaped upon him. He said, quote, "I possess more exalted titles than I have ever been able to count. I am supposed to know more secret signs, tokens, grips, passwords, and grand words than I could learn in a dozen lives. An elephant would break down under the insignia I am entitled to wear," unquote. The Confessions of Aleister Crowley, page 684 and 685. Now, Crowley also wrote about bloody sacrifices in his book Magic in Theory and Practice, page 95, instructing the reader that, quote, "The animal should therefore be killed within the circle, or the triangle, as the case may be, so that the energy cannot escape. But the bloody sacrifice, though more dangerous, is more efficacious, and for nearly all purposes, human sacrifice is the best. A male child of perfect innocence and high intelligence is the most satisfying and suitable victim." Sometimes whole lodges are satanic. For example, the Grand Orient d'Italia rented Palazzo Borghese in Rome in 1893. 2 years later, due to a dispute about the rent contract, the Freemasons had to vacate parts of the palace. The representative of the owner, the Duke of Borghese, undertook an inspection. The newspaper courier Nazinal stated that the room was locked. The inspectors had to threaten to bring police before they were allowed to enter the room. The whole room had been converted into a shrine to Satan. The walls were covered with red and black silk, and a tapestry with a woven depiction of the devil was on the wall. Now, some ignorant Freemasons will claim that the oaths are only symbolic and that you will never get killed for talking about the lodge, but that's not the case. Roberto Calvi was a P2 Lodge Freemason. He was also manager and chief owner of the Ambrossariano Bank. On June 18, 1982, he was found hanged beneath Blackfriars Bridge on the Thames in London, 4 miles from Chelsea Cloister where he was staying. The official verdict published by Scotland Yard was suicide. In addition, it was concluded that he had first been strangled. Calvi, called God's banker, had just prior threatened to expose the P2 role in the bank crash. Later on, the ordinary police took over the investigation and concluded that it was murder. The day before Kelby's death, his secretary, Grazila Korocher, quote, threw herself out of her window of the 4th floor of the bank. And on October 2nd, 1982, another bank employee, Giuseppe Paluscia, jumped out of the window of the bank and committed quote-unquote suicide. On October 5th, 2005, 5 people were charged with Calvi's murder. So the elite want the knowledge that God is not willing to give them, and they are willing to do satanic sacrifice to the false god of wisdom, the owl Minerva, who is in turn the serpent or the devil who offers knowledge. What kind of knowledge could they want? Maybe they want to know how to complete the New World Order Weishaupt started. Either way, Moloch or Minerva worship is satanic. They both have child sacrifice. They're wearing black, red, and white cloaks and practicing idol worship. This Minerva is Satan in disguise. The owl at the Grove is further proof that the Illuminati lives on, since Weishaupt adopted the symbol of the owl from ancient Greece.
Listen, I am a happy member of the Bohemian Grove. I like the folks who come there, and it's really inappropriate for me to talk about the group beyond that. Thank you.
Have you been there for the ceremony with the cremation of care?
Frankly, I don't think that's something I need to talk to you about. This is what's called ambush journalism, and I disrespect you for that as well. So thank you. Think about it. It's none of your damn business.
Many people who attend the Bohemian Grove are on the news every day, leading double lives. Some of these people include George W. Bush, George H.W. Bush. Ronald Reagan and Richard Nixon were also members. Eisenhower attended. Master Harry S. Truman attended. Jimmy Carter attended. Newt Gingrich attends. Henry Kissinger attends. National Security Advisor Colin Powell, as well as Secretary of State George Shultz, were on their way to Bohemian Grove on this flight. Alan Greenspan attends. Prince Philip attends. Now just think, we have all these confirmed people photographed at the Grove. Just imagine how many people we don't have photographed that go there. All these people's associates, all these New World Order Bilderbergers, CFR people, Council on Foreign Relations people, Trilateral Commission people. There's probably thousands.
What do you want me to talk about? The Bohemian Club. As you say, the Bohemian Club? I've never been to the Bohemian Club, but you ought to go. It'd be good for you. Get some fresh air.
Here's a New Statesman news report that tells us that Bill Clinton has gone to the Bohemian Grove. Bill Clinton is a lying piece of garbage. Now, the Vatican is also involved. You see, high-level Catholics go to the Bohemian Grove, and more Catholics at the Grove. In fact, the Vatican is helping the Illuminati strive for a new world order, one world government. Pope John Paul II attended the Bilderberg meeting in Portugal in 1999. Bill Clinton and David Rockefeller were there as well. Then shortly after, Pope John Paul II calls for a new world order based on the goals of the United Nations. But the United Nations is an international joke. It always has been. Bilderberg is where the elite of the world meet up. Now the current Pope, Pope Benedict, has recently called for a new world order as well. He's saying to fight terrorism and poverty, we must have a new world order. But you see, terrorism is exaggerated. That's order out of chaos, where you artificially create a crisis and then offer a solution to it to achieve your goal. That is also reverse psychological propaganda.